Hi guys, I'm Kelly.
I'm Rich.
Welcome back to our channel, or welcome if you are new.
This week we've got 3 projects on the boil, all centred around fixing or updating stuff on our Mercedes Vario.
Our bus had a lot of rust fallout on it from welding and from cutting holes in the bus, so we're going to show you some products that we've used to help get that paint back to its sparkling best.
Second thing, so our bus came with a pretty decent seat, but it was filthy and it didn't match our new seats in terms of colour, so we have spray painted and dyed those to basically restore it to a fresh, delicious goodness.
Seat-tastic.
Yeah.
And last of all, we've taken off a load of our bumpers and we have repaired them using an alternative to Raptor.
Yeah, and we've filled loads of holes on there with a product from Jenolite, which is basically a epoxy plastic. So we're going to be showing you how we restored those too. Hope you enjoy. We're going to get straight down to it. Leave your comments down below. Give us a big like if you like what you see. And thank you so much for watching. Enjoy.
Last week you saw us install our IMAS water heater and there was loads of rust fallout on the bus. So we decided that we're this week going to give it a good clean.
We're going for an all-out offensive on these windows. So I'm going along and cleaning the seals out along this side. And Kelly's cleaning on the inside. Whilst I'm cleaning the windows, I'm just getting rid of some of the fallout that's on the bus, of which there is a lot. So there's been quite minimal work done on this side of the bus, but it's covered in metal filings, as you can see here. So I've just sprayed a product on here called Dooka Bleed, but Iron Out or any of the other products are basically the same. They stink like farts and egg. So you spray this stuff on and it chemically removes any sort of filings that might be in the paint and any fallout in the paint is the first step. I'll wash this off. I just want to get all of this stuff off of it.
Thanks.
Right, okay, let's see what it can do against this. Now this side is screwed. I'm going to start by rinsing the bus side down just with some clean water, and I'm going to spray on this stuff, which is Dooka Bleed. Let's see if it can get this up, because this is worrying me actually. And it was stupid of me to have let it get this bad. Let's see if I can remedy it. And this is the result. The time lapse, the camera went dead, gutted, because look at this. Time to get it rinsed off. I cannot believe what just came off the bus. Yeah, this bloody river here is fallout that's been removed from the paint by that Dooka Bleed. You can see from the first pass that it's removed an awful lot. But the next step is a 2-bucket wash. So, not meaning to teach anyone to suck eggs, but basically you use 2 buckets because you put the sponge in the clean water on one side and then you put it in the soapy water in the other, and then once you've removed it from the dirty panel you repeat that. So you put it in the clean water to rinse it off and then use the soapy water on the bus, and then that way any crud and dirt and metal in this case that you remove from the panel stays in the dirty bucket and you're not re-washing the bus with it. So after the Dooka Bleed and a wash, it's already looking much better. So you can see here I've still got some stains. So this is from some residue, some glue by the looks of it. Got some stains where it's run down the window and on there. So the next stage for decontamination, now I know that I've got as much off by washing without touching it and then washing by touching it with the washcloth. I'm going to go over this now with some automotive clay to get out these last little bits, so that it looks filthy on camera. But you see these little bits here that are in the paint. I'm going to try and get these out now with that. Like I said, for me, we're going to be painting this in the summer. I just didn't want it to get any worse, so this is why I'm doing this now. So that's the next step. I'm going to grab my clay, which is in my pocket. You can use this with just plain mortar, or I use it with a product called Auto Finesse Glide, which you just spray on the panel and then go over, working over with the clay, folding periodically to make sure you're not rubbing the contaminants back into the paint. The stuff that doesn't come off with the clay, because it won't all come off with the clay, I'll show you another trick in a minute. Again, this looks careless, and it maybe was, but I'm not too upset about this. I am going to get it off in a second, obviously, but we are going to be painting the bus, which is why I didn't sort of take overly too much care, but let me show you how you can remedy this anyway. I wish it was this quick, but basically spray the panel over, use the clay, fold the clay, replace the clay as often as needed. All of that fallout now, so we haven't got any like sort of rusty particles in the bus. There is some slight staining in there. I would get out with my polisher, but I'm not going to show you that today. This isn't a detailing channel, but I wanted to show you that if you basically, so if you like us have a load of work done or do a load of work on your bus, how you can decontaminate the paint. Yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that. Like I said, in the summer I think we are going to paint this a different color. If not, I'll paint over this arch anyway. You can see here the clay bar got most of the overspray off, and then what I used is a tiny bit of that Upol panel wipe to get the rest of it off. So yeah, we shouldn't have any more problems with that rust in the paint now. Final bits of staining, like I said, I can take out with a machine polisher, or when we paint the bus over in the summer, that will rectify that anyway. It just depends which option we go for. So yeah, pretty pleased with that now. It doesn't look like a disgrace anymore. The windows are clean, ready for me to seal up to, which was the whole point of this in the first place. Welcome to our conservatory. So this is our driver's seat, and it's filthy. So not only has it got 20 years of assorted farts in it, it's also got all of the grime that's been in our conservatory, as well as just all the dirt from people over the years getting in and out of the bus. So I'm going to give it a clean, because what we're going to try and do with this is actually dye the fabric just a darker grey. So we'll have this funky pattern in it always, it won't cover that over, but we're thinking that we might be able to use this spray dye that we found that's made specifically for fabric. Yeah, first thing to do was a really good deep clean to get all of the sort of dust and dirt off, but then the ingrained grime that was in the seat. So we did several passes with the handheld cleaner, and I actually used non-bio liquid in this, so what we would use in your washing machine, and it worked really well. Just really saturated the seats and then sucked it all out. You can see here the colour that's coming out, both in the water and the colour that is revealing for the original seat. And just really took our time with it. I had to do it I think 3 or 4 times to just get all of that crud out. Pass 2, I've done the bottom seat pad but not the back, so you can see the difference there. Give it one more go and then I'm going to let it dry out. We actually found a secret weapon like many years ago, which is hand soap. So you don't need to sing happy birthday when you're doing it, but normal over the counter sort of pump hand soap actually gets out like the stubbornness of stains.
Is that to clean through?
Yeah.
Ew.
It's been a few days and it's all dried back now, so you can see that really it's a good transformation just from cleaning, and we could use it just like this, but our Ford Tornado seats don't match this seat, which is out of our Mercedes Vario, because they are sort of an anthracite colour and this is a sort of bluey purpley colour. Sorry about all the crud in our conservatory, but what I've done is cut 2 bags basically in half. So for the back bit, I just put the bag over the top and then cut, and then I've taped around the edges. So the back is all masked off, and then the bottom, again, sort of cut it in half, laid it on the bottom, and all I've got left on show now is the fabric which I want to dye. So that's the stuff I want to get the dye on, and I've covered over the bits where I don't want to get dye on.
So Richmond, tell us about the chair and what you're doing.
Yeah, so we've bought this stuff, I found it online. The dye that we're going to be using is water-based, it's non-toxic. It says you could spray this indoors if you wanted to. The instructions are do a light coat first and let that dry, so that's what I'm going to do, and then basically repeat that until you've got the shade that you want, and then you let it dry for 72 hours. The instructions say to resist the urge to saturate the seat, so do as light coats as you can. This was probably, to be honest, a little bit too heavy, but it did work out in the end. And then when you do spray it, it looks really light and it goes a lot darker as it dries. So now that the seat's dyed, we're going to spray the sides and back now black with a product called Plastics in One. But to do that, I need to take it out the front and mask up the cloth area.
Now it's ripped in half. We have to put it down here and then start here.
Yeah.
Okay. I can rip this part, don't worry, guys. Look, I just ripped this open by myself.
Wait, that's it.
And there's some underneath there still.
Is there? There's a little bit of tape here as well, look.
Now,
uh-oh, finger trap.
these are very sticky, guys, so be careful the tape to get sticky.
Is it all off?
Yeah.
Thanks, love. I have taped him up, ready so we can have the sides and the back sprayed, hopefully.
Now we've cleaned these seats a couple of times already, but I'm just going over it with my trusty degreaser just to make sure that there's nothing else left on here that might upset the paint. The PAO stands for Plastics in One. It's from a company called Buzzwelds. I've never used this before. I've heard good things about it. I'm going to give it a couple of light coats now, see how that comes out. I'm hoping to be able to restore quite a lot of stuff in the bus with this, so like I say, I've got high hopes that it'll work out well. Yeah. And we've got a couple of little visitors. Hello, Mr. Robin. Help yourself to some lunch. I used a similar technique here with normal spray paint, really, just doing light coats and then let it dry. What I did find though, it did dry really quickly, which was like really cool. It does smell like pear drops, doesn't it? Trickiest part in all this was masking the chair and keeping the masking tape on it or spraying. That is looking pretty good already. I'm very happy with how that's gone on. Let's see how it dries. Give it 15 minutes and then we'll give it another coat. I painted the headrest too, that's just drying. Went on really nicely on that. So far, this stuff seems really good. Okay, so I'm going to finish it off with this midnight black actually. And I think this will take it down a shade because of the colour of our cloth. All an experiment, let's see how it goes. Okay, I started with one coat with the black stuff, and to be honest, that is the finish that I think we were looking for. That dark, it's come out dark grey. So we'll see how that dries, because it does dry darker, to see whether it even needs another coat or not. But that's looking pretty good. Still see the pattern through it, which is, like Kel said earlier, quite cool with that. But that should now match much better the grey seats that we have in the bus.
So here is the finished chair, and we're really pleased with him. So basically, we did a massive scrub clean, and it was absolutely disgusting. You've probably seen in the videos. And then we did 6 coats of the spray fabric paint on it, but it was 2 different colours. We used the light grey for fibre coats, and then 1 coat of a darker, was it a black?
Yeah.
The spray paint, we did have some issue with it, but they sent us a new bottle, so it all worked out in the end, didn't it?
Yeah.
And on the back we used a plastic spray.
Ooh.
Just to refresh it, which looks fabulous, and I think we're probably going to use that in the front of the bus on like our console and stuff, aren't we?
Yeah, we're going to refurbish the dashboard and steering wheel and everything.
Yeah, and that. But it's come out really nice. I'm pleased with it. We were worried, we were like, well, give it a go, because it only really cost us about £45, and thought if we hated it, we would have just recovered it, but I'm really pleased with it.
These are our wheel arch trims that I've taken off the back of the bus. Now, when they were on the bus before, the coach company, or somebody who shall remain nameless in previous ownership, secured them sort of quite roughly through with just literally screwing them through the front of it. And when I put them back on, I don't really want to reuse these, and I'd like it to look a little bit fresher than that. So what I found is a neat product from Jenolite that is like an epoxy plastic. I'm just going to walk you through the steps of how I'm going to repair this. Here you can see where they've screwed it through. I've got a spot here that's proud. Not like proud, oh yeah, look at me, like, oh, it's stuck out here, and I don't want that. So what I'm going to do is use this 120 grit sandpaper. So just take that back so it's flush, and then likewise I'm just going to key the surface in here. Now this hole here is fine to fill because it's indented. Further along here, so it's this one, this is stuck out a little bit, so I need to sand that back so it's flush or indented, so when I put the filler in here it has a place to sit. I'm not going to use a block for this because with the curved shape I want it to be flat. So you can see, I mean, this is 120 grit, so it's not the most abrasive and stuff, but it's pretty abrasive. You can see that it shows that actually already taking that back, it's being pretty rounded. That's why you want to do this by hand and not be overzealous with it. I've learnt that the hard way. Sand them front and back, and then we're going to get to the filling part. Okay, so I've just sanded these all back roughly. You can see that it's now smooth along this edge here, which is what I want. And it's smooth in here. What's important to do now is just make sure that this is clean. What I've been using to repair this plastic, it's called Jenolite plastic stick, repair and rebuild. So it kind of does what it says on the tip. It says it's functional in 2 to 3 hours, it is. Little tip with this, so if you're using it outside in the cold, like I am, what you're best off doing is cutting off a little round of this and then sort of sticking it in your pocket or sticking it somewhere warm just for a little while before you mix it, because otherwise it's just too hard to work with. As you can see, it's nice and soft now, or softer, bloody cold today. So what you do now is you kind of squish it, fold it, squish it, fold it, until it's all one uniform colour. And then you can begin to use it. You can see that I've mashed this now to sort of a light blue consistency, and I've also already filled that hole and that hole. I'm now going to do this one, so you can see that it's indented. It's important that it's indented and not frowned. I'm going to tear a little bit off and force it from the outside through the hole, and then I'm going to squash it on the back just to make sure it's all adhered, and then at that point it's just a case of waiting for it to dry before we can sand it back. Okay, so just using my thumb and index finger to just mash that in there and make sure it's going to be fully adhered to the surface of this wheel arch. I'm going to leave it till next weekend when I've got time to sand this back, and then by that point it'll be fully hard. Well, I did this several weeks ago now. Obviously it only needs hours to cure, but I've moved on to doing other things. So what I'm going to do today is sand this back and then give it a coat of plastic primer and high build primer, just so we can get it.
Someone is doing some wet and dry. Do you want to explain what you're doing?
Yeah, so we filled this with a plastic filler, and then sanding it back with 80 grit, and now I'm sanding it with some wet and dry wet. And you can see where the hole is that I repaired. That's smooth now, completely smooth, and I'm just going over the whole thing now so we can prime it with plastic primer. I bought cheaper sort of bed liner type paint to try on these. But normally I would buy like Raptor because I know that it's good, but to do these in Raptor I reckon probably would have been a couple of £100 by the time we've done the bumpers and these and everything else we want to do black, whereas this is much cheaper, so we'll see if it's a false economy or not. But as you know, we like to do experiments that usually fail.
So you don't have to.
Guys,
This is curved, I'm not using a block. If it was flat, I'd use a block. So people are like, oh, you're not using a block. Why? Because I need to get in the curves. I need to feel it with my fingers. What? This finger?
Oh, you can hear my cough.
Would you like to feel how smooth it is?
Oh, it is smooth-alicious. It's hard.
Okay, so see the repairs here. You can actually see the hole here, or the former hole, and that's all nice and smooth now. All this paint is fully adhered. Pretty happy with that. I've wiped it on panel wipe, and I'm just going to give it a few coats of primer now, plastic primer. Stuff that I'm using is this. It's nice and cheap. I could have gone more expensive, but you know, for what I'm doing here, I'm not going for a spray booth finish, but I should be able to get a pretty good result with this stuff. It's cheap. A few things drying in here overnight. It's cold outside, but it's lovely and warm in here. So we've got the driver's seat, which is looking pretty good, drying over there. And we've got these wheel arch trims also drying overnight in here. This is the arch which we filled with that plastic filler. Can't really tell where it filled. I think it was about here. Probably see where it's not quite curved. About there. And about there. But yeah. Not bad. Painted with the bed liner next. See how they come out. Dustbin over first. So there we are. That's the first coat done. So It's all in the prep really. This bit's the easy bit. Just take your time with it. Alright, 30 minutes and we'll give it all a second coat. Here we are, so yeah, you can't even see those repairs now on there, and I'm really pleased with the finish. Once they're on, they're going to look really smart, I think. I'm glad that those screw holes are all fixed now. Yeah, next job is to get them fitted back on the bus. Happy days. That's our little mini projects for the week. Hope you've enjoyed that. As we mentioned, we're going to restore the dashboard, and did you want to see us restore the cab? Let us know down below.
Also, if you're wondering why we're in the back garden this week, it's because Luke, our welder, is here doing some work for us. So
Probably can hear him.
yeah.
So yeah, we'll be updating you on that in a very near future video. Next week we are fitting our new MIDI Hecky skylight, and we're going to be showing you that as well as a few other things. So hope you've enjoyed. Take care, and thanks for watching so much. Give us a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it, and please leave your comments down below.
Thank you so much, guys. Oh, 1, 2, 3.
Bye! Billy just wants to show you where all of the fairies are. What's that?
These are the 2 little dandelions. What transformed into the... They used to look like this.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, they did.
Now what do they look like?
Now they look like this.
What do you do with those?
Tell the time. And then they transform into real fairies. Didn't they?
Yeah.
Those are real, aren't they?
Yeah.
When fairies on Daddy.